Fancy seeing you here on a Sunday of all
I
places.
know. I was just thinking, you look like you've just got back from the golf links. You know, you had a quiet back nine, and now you've sauntered in, suntanned face, Negroni in your hand. Here we are, Sunday Mike, ready to play.
I've been wearing a few polo shirts lately, just
Yeah.
because I wear polo shirts. Here's an interesting little fact, and by interesting I mean,
Not.
interesting for me.
Yeah.
That polo shirts, I can only wear them. There's certain items of clothing that I can wear when I feel good about my body. And I'm not saying like I'm ripped, but I don't want to like if I haven't been working out or anything and my arms are just like flabby, trunks, then I'm not going to wear a polo because I don't feel like I'm like filling it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like slightly self-conscious about my
I mean,
arms,
elephant
if-
trunks are famously muscular. So, if anything, that's the wrong description. Like, you can't really have flabby and trunk
Yeah.
in the same sentence,
maybe like a
Maybe like chicken wings.
No, I've got it.
Niblets.
Like a Zupa Duper that has been left out of the fridge. Left out of the freezer.
You did have it. Yeah. I shouldn't have tried to
Yeah.
suggest things. You had it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, you're looking good. Polo suits you. I would hate to be behind you in a queue, but otherwise, I'm very excited for your Sunday attire.
Why would you? Have you seen the whole thing? I'm looking very summery.
You are looking very summery.
Look at the shoes.
Wow, look at the quads. Okay. Wow, you.
Do you want to take a photo?
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
You do
So
look.
let's.
You do look summery
Why did you say that you wouldn't want to be behind me in a queue?
because you look like the kind of person who. Have you watched The White Lotus?
I have actually, yeah.
You look like Jake Lacey's character complaining about the room not being exactly right. So if I was behind you in a queue, I would expect to be there for another 10 minutes while they waited for the manager to sort out your petty grievance.
That's a good. I actually had that thought today when I put together this outfit. I thought not specifically that, although I get it, but the whole like I look like a preppy prick.
We booked the pineapple suite. Well, I'm sorry, sir, it's booked. But you've taken our money and we're in a different room. Well, yeah. I don't know what I can tell you, sir. There are other guests in the room. Well,
what do you think of that show, by the way?
I quite liked it. Yeah.
I'm enjoying these. There's a few like series, like mini series that are coming out. It seems like rather than like television shows that have like seasons
Endless.
and seasons.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I thought it was well made. I fucking love Juliette Lewis. She is just like the greatest person, like the greatest character.
Juliette Lewis. Oh, is she like the plastic,
like ditzy plastic spa
yeah,
woman?
she's part of the Waiting for Guffman
Correct.
crew.
Yeah. No,
crew.
not Juliette Lewis. That's not who I mean.
No.
Fuck. Who do I mean?
Juliette Lewis is the brown haired.
Yeah, that's the.
She's also great.
Fuck. Jennifer Coolidge is so fucking good in that show. Every time she's on screen, every line delivery she gives, I just crack up. She's a genius.
She's a brilliant comedic actress. Also, the Australian guy, the caretaker,
Murray.
He's hilarious.
Murray Bartlett.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah,
I loved him too.
Yeah, I thought it was well made, well acted. I liked sort of the middle parts where it was all just sort of ticking along, and there weren't really stakes. But then at the end, when it felt like they were trying to sort of make a point about things or try and set up characters to have learnt stuff, I felt like it's a little bit more pat, right? Like where you end up with this thing where it's like, oh, I've got the narrative burden of I set up there's a dead person, now we've got to show the dead person. And you're like, okay, that's you've done it well, but it's also not like as entertaining as just watching a family sitting around having dinner.
Sure. I think I think I'm like lucky in that sense that I'm not seeing all all of those strings. Like I'm quite happy for just like a bit of what I liked about it was like they're touching on some like political hot button issues, doing it in like a. I mean, that's all I really need.
Yeah. And also, I mean, it has to be said there has been criticism of the show for the sort of colonialist take, right? Like, yeah, it's these there's a distinct vibe there where it's a whole bunch of rich white people coming into this island, and you know, the minorities in the show get short shrift, and whether or not that's a deliberate satirical point or whether or not, rather than writing the entire thing himself, Mike White should have got some other voices in the room there to make sure that if you're saying something about that dynamic, you know, don't leave Kai off in the wilderness with no resolution, that sort of thing.
Sure. Yeah, that's one thing that I'm like grappling with at the moment with this like diversity push in entertainment, which I obviously agree with, but also like are we going to leave space to reflect reality? And sometimes reality is that. And yeah, we want to be higher in diversity. That's a word, isn't it?
Sure. For you, anything's a word.
Diversity should be a priority, but also reflecting reality should be a priority. So, and sometimes that's just going to mean, you know.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's true for every show and every series. You know, like not every show is realistic. Some shows are heightened. Some shows are sci-fi. Some shows are aspirational. You know, there are circumstances where that's more important than other times, right?
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of a half-baked point there, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, no. I mean, I think it's reasonable. The most interesting question is when you, yeah, actually, I don't have the brain or energy to go into that point that I was going to make, so I'm just going to abort it.
Wait, I'll make it for you.
Okay.
Maybe it was the same point.
Sure.
It's this. Okay, we're getting into spaces where we want actors to be portraying. If they're playing a gay person, you want a gay person to play that role. We're getting into area now where is everyone just having to stay in their own lane, and are actors not going to be able to play minority characters in a minority who are part of a minority? Oh fuck, this is bullshit.
No, I mean that is a point. That wasn't where I was going to go. I was going to go just somewhere along the lines of the fight for diversity is also one where, let's say that you're centering a woman of color in a story. One of the things now that writers and creators and actors and stuff are still pushing for is the ability to make those people unlikable, to get to do the kind of things where it's like, okay, now we're at the stage where there's enough representation on screen that not every role has this burden of it has to represent the entire minority. It has to shine a light on some important issue, and getting to that space of whether or not you can just put people into roles where they're shitheads, regardless of their skin color, or whether they're you know, the race thing doesn't have to be an aspect of their character as much. You know, that they're fighting for the right to be what white characters have had for years, which is, you know, the ability to be dumb or smart or hot or, you know, malicious or vindictive or, you know, all that kind of thing. And I was going to muse about whether we'd crossed that threshold yet where you're, you know, these people of color or whatever that we're seeing on screen are able to be things other than people of color, or in addition to just being people of color. But yeah,
there's a bit of an interesting irony happening right now where we're pushing towards equality, but in doing that we're focusing on everyone's identities, which is not equality. Equality would be not seeing beyond race or beyond sexual orientation, but it's not there yet. There's a hyper focus on that at the moment.
Yeah, And it's one of those things that'll all sort of come out in the wash because you give it another 10 years and some of this progress will have been made and you'll be in a spot where you can look past it. But I mean, you think back to 2005, I think it was, when Modern Family first came on the air, and how like controversial and how big a deal it was that one of the lead couples in that was a gay couple, and they're like shitty characters. They're not very appealing gays, but at the time it was this like mainstreaming of that identity. And now you look at TV screens, and you know how many different varieties of gay people do you see in all kinds of different shows at the moment.
In literally every show there's like a gay person, and it's like it's kind of back to this other thing. It's like, I mean, that's good, but it's like it almost seems disproportionate to how many gay people there are.
Possibly, but like, at the same time, there's been a historical erasure of some of those people from places and where they would have been or should have been depicted previously. So, you know, if it's clumped up a little bit now, but it's making up for 50 years where they pretended they didn't exist, and you know, it's just like it's a taste of the month thing, right? And that's some of the challenges being a writer or creator at the moment. It's like, what's the kind of character I want to see on screen at the moment? And you're like, well, fuck, a lot of stuff's being done, you know, like. Yeah.
Well, and to that as well, I thought the other day, isn't it funny how there's a disproportionate amount of movies or TV shows about writers? Like, writers write about themselves. There's not.
Yeah. It's no surprise that like the Oscars is all like, anytime there's a film about Hollywood, the Oscars fucking eat it up, you know.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, or you have The Pianist, or you know, any of these kind of not The Pianist, The Artist. I'm sorry. All of these ones about like writers and actors. You know, it's an area where everyone's like, ooh, that's about me. I like this one.
Mank.
Or
was that next year?
It didn't really get much in the awards, doesn't it?
No, I wanted to like that movie, and I just
I didn't see it.
It's too much. Like, black and white movies, like, I want to like them, and I have liked some. Like Frances Ha is probably my favorite black and white movie, and I think Joaquin Phoenix has got one coming out too. But like, just put it in color. What are you doing? What point are you really trying to make here? Like, it doesn't need to be in black and white.
That's an aesthetic, isn't it?
It's a shit aesthetic. Like, there's color now, guys. There's color. Put it in color.
Is that why everything should be in 3D now as well? Because there's 3D. We're seeing in 3D.
Yeah, that's my big problem with animated movies. Not enough 3 dimensions. Not enough dimensions.
Not enough dimensions. Welcome to Deep Thought, everyone. It's a Sunday, but you probably won't hear this for several days. But that's sort of irrelevant. Anyway, hi, this is a podcast, and we talk about things that are happening in the world through the medium of audio. Sitting through the internet with me, my friend Michael. Hi, Michael.
Yar, my hearties. Pirate Mike.
Pirate Mike. It's October, we're in a spooky mindset, and here's the pirates. And I'm Nick. Hi. Hey. Ho.
Do you reckon any pirate ever said Yar, my hearties? Did that just like evolve out of
came from
nothing?
Something, right?
I wonder if there was just one. Imagine if you had a time machine, you went back, like, I'll go back to the pirate age.
Okay, Michael, what was the pirate age?
1600s?
I was going to say 1700s.
Yeah. And there was one pirate that was just like, I'm going to go for it.
But wasn't our modern conception of pirates very much influenced by Treasure Island, the book? Like, it was only when Treasure Island came around that this whole, like, X marks the spot kind of the lore and the mysticism of it all came about, because, like, an author made it up.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was really a thing in the way that it's depicted.
Yeah, which is disappointing, because pirates, there's something about pirates, like the idea of the boots and the Captain Blackbeard and the cannons and the crocodiles.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fashion masterpiece. Like, there's nothing.
It is.
There's something to be said for, like, seagoing workers with a little bit of glam, right? Like
Yeah.
they're out there, they're dealing with a lot of stuff. There's fish, there's smells, they're on a boat, but they still take time to care for themselves, to present
Oh yeah.
themselves in a way that's, a little bit special.
Dude, imagine how smelly pirates would have been.
So gross.
It would have been like moonshine rum,
Yeah.
like just feces everywhere.
Yeah.
The worst BO ever.
Yeah.
Men,
Salty.
scurvy.
Yeah. Diarrhea.
I always think that when I think about the past, which I often do, I always think about how it would have actually been, because we have this, like, if you think about the 60s, it's like you think about it through like the film, the media that you've seen from that time.
Yeah.
Or if you think about the 30s, but then you see that in these like colorization images or whatever that are coming out now with technology. You're like, oh my God, like I've been remembering, my understanding of that time was so different to what it actually was, and it actually brings you further to reality.
Yeah. When you see
Which is
like
an
World War
interesting-
II imagery that's been colorized or something,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh shit, it's not like an abstract once they take it out of black and white, it suddenly becomes so much more real.
It was real, and I like it when movies do this, where you've got like I saw a movie called The Nest with Jude Law and someone else. Oh, Coolidge, something Coolidge.
Jennifer
And-
Coolidge?
Yeah.
No.
Wait, was that the lady
That was
that
the
we just...
that's the White Lotus lady.
Oh no, it was something Coon. Jennifer
Carrie
Coon or
Coon.
something.
Carrie Coon.
Might have been.
Yeah.
Anyway, phenomenal movie, and it was like set in the 70s, but it's
Yeah,
not
Carrie Coon.
the fashion wasn't like overstated. And too often you see like in movies, there's like, oh, okay guys, it's the 70s, so we got to get the cars, everyone's going to have like this crazy hairstyle. That's not what was happening. Like it was more moderate than that.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing that Mad Men did was there was like a lag time on fashion, because the moment that something came out, it wasn't like the entire world suddenly adopted it. People wouldn't buy a new car straight away. People wouldn't have an appliance straight away. People would not jump on the latest fashions immediately. And so a lot of the 60s, people were still dressing like the tail end of the 50s until sort of the regular fashion stuff trickled down. And so they were always very careful with that in that show, to make sure that the period stuff was actually, at least at the start of that show, sort of 50s residual more than it was the quintessential 60s stuff.
Yeah. I remember thinking in the 2000s that there was like, you had the 90s, that's got like a very unique and defined style, 80s, 70s, and so on. I remember thinking in the 2000s, like, there's no style. There's no like defined style.
Yeah.
And then you go forward 10 years and you're like, of course there was. I mean, it's harder to, when there's less like overt things. I wonder if people in the 80s thought, man, we look so 80s right now. with our
They
hair
think
and...
exactly what we think, which is like everyone's wearing
This is
like
just
modern, normal clothes.
Yeah. But couldn't you say that like it's kind of going towards like a more minimalist style now? Like people are wearing
Maybe some people in some places at some point in time, but I mean, I couldn't generalize enough to say
like
I know
hoodies. Hoodies have that's kind of ubiquitous. Like tracksuits. No, that's not really. I can't even think.
Yeah, I mean,
We're too close.
and it's even hard to see. Like, it's not like someone suddenly invented a three-legged pant or something where there's this big dramatic change. It's just textures and
That's what I wear, by the way.
oh, penis. It's just like textures and fabrics and things that are changing and cuts, but like ultimately, it's just a pant and a top, right? For guys at least. So
Yeah,
when you
I
look
guess
back
so.
at the 2010s versus the 20s currently. What are you going to say? Oh, jeans were around, but they're now slightly different again.
You see, there's definitely a style where I live in inner north of Melbourne. There's definitely a style coming back that kind of is borrowing from a little bit of like 90s, like really small kind of sunglasses, big like kind of flary jeans that are cropped.
Yeah.
There's definitely pockets of style around, but I think for the most part, which is probably how everything else was. But it's also not just fashion. It's like music as well. That's another thing that heavily defines a decade or an era, and I guess cars.
Yeah, I guess when you're looking about how it's depicted on screen, Cars is definitely one of those fundamental shortcuts where it's like, okay, all of them are like big, square, boxy, sedan type things, and you're like, okay, this is American, this is New York in the 80s. I know exactly what we're looking at. So I think you're right that does add something to the image.
But it's also language, which is interesting. This is something I had written down here from the other day, which is like words like groovy and far out and radical. You had back then in the 70s, I guess, and now you'd have like cool and dude, sweet, dope. That might even be.
But dope has old. Like come full circle, right? Like dope.
Awesome's a big one.
But awesome, I think, is old. I don't think people say awesome anymore.
Is it?
Like, I think that's our generation. I don't think think people younger than us say the words you just listed as much.
What do the new kids say?
I don't know. I just remember because when we were working at White Bear and I was doing programming for kids, there was a moratorium on the word awesome. One, because it could be so easily overused, but two, because it was like an old person's word. So you had to. I mean, I have absolutely no idea what like half the slang that people would be using on, I don't know, TikTok or Instagram is between their friends or in school classrooms. I think that a lot of that shit's sailed past us now.
Yeah, isn't it weird to think that like when we're in our 50s, we're going to be so far removed from it, but we're going to be so stuck. Like, it's interesting that people dress in their older age, they dress in the same clothes that they would wear, in their 20s and 30s.
And like, I totally get it. Like, what are you meant to do?
That's what we will be doing.
Yeah. But I always respect those people that, like the people in their 60s now, which are going to their hairdresser and getting like a more modern cut or like a color or something like that. And you're like, yeah, like good on you for keeping up a little bit, like not just sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I do too. Like when I think about myself in my 40s and 50s, I have always, even from a young age, thought I don't want to just like, I want to like stay on top of that. I want fashion to still be important to me. Not that like I'm a huge fascist at the moment, but like,
was that deliberate?
Yeah, it was. Okay. I think it's a Friends joke, embarrassingly.
Okay, sure.
But I have always thought like I want to be one of those like semi-stylish men. By stylish, I just mean not giving up, which is what I saw what you see a lot of like men in middle age do, which they just like they forget or they just stop caring about their fashion and how they look, their haircut, and I never want to get fat, and maybe your priorities just change. But I mean, some of that has to be like, okay, now I've got 2 kids under 5 and I don't have any time to do anything for myself. So like some of that shit's going to take over your life, isn't it? Totally. And that's why I never want to have kids.
Yeah, well, there you go. You want to be the only child in this dynamic.
Yeah, totally. Your room's looking a bit more put together.
Yeah, there's a shelf now with all of Casey's collections.
Nerd.
Yeah. For once, that's not my nerd stuff though, so you can't make fun of me.
No, I don't think you're a nerd anymore.
What? How?
I'm a nerd as much as you are.
Okay, I think I'm still more of a nerd than you, but I'm shocked that there was even a question there.
I just mean that I think we're both like kind of nerdy.
Do you think nerd's like an attitude? Like nerd's a state of mind?
Nerd to me is just like interested in particular things.
Okay.
Is that what nerds are?
Yeah, I think so. But like traditionally, that
Never
used to
got
be
laid.
about very specific sort of computery or high fantasy
Yeah.
or board games or Dungeons and Dragons kind of ways.
Yeah,
I think
I
you're
guess
right.
so.
Like you could be a music nerd and know everything about 1980s hip hop or something, right?
Yeah. Where does the word nerd come from? Is that a standalone word?
I don't know.
I'll ask Siri. Hey Siri, where does the word nerd come from?
Okay, I found this on the web for where does the word nerd come from? Check it out.
I changed my Siri to an Indian guy.
Yeah, I think that's questionable.
Oh, it comes from Dr. Seuss. Why is that questionable?
Well, you've enlisted a minority to greet you and do all your work for you.
Indians are my favorite race of people. That's why I chose it, because I love
You
talking to
aspire
Indian
to be
people.
Indian.
I don't aspire. I mean, I'm half Sri Lankan, or a
Yeah.
quarter, or an eighth. It comes from Dr. Seuss, apparently.
1951 US student slang, probably an alteration of 1940s slang nerd, a stupid or crazy person, itself an alteration of nut. The word
Oh.
turns up in a Dr. Seuss book from 1950, If I Ran the Zoo, which may have contributed to its rise.
Oh, interesting.
So if you're a nut, and then it became a nerd, and then it became a nerd, and then Dr.
That's a
Seuss
quick
gave it
evolution.
That is quick. Well, I mean, think about how rapidly some things are creating new meanings now in our online world.
Well, lol. There's a lot of
Yeah,
computer
that's a
words.
brand new. I'm trying to think of like a good example. That's a brand new sort of, what would you call that? It's not an acronym. Oh, it is an acronym. I'm trying to think of a word which has adopted a new meaning. Okay, this is a sort of dull example, but tweet, right? Tweet used to mean just the bird's song, right? Like when something tweeted, it was like a little audio thing, but now it has a whole other meaning and a whole other context of he tweeted, right? Like some of this, the adaptations that have been made by the internet era have rapidly progressed the way that our language is evolving, and given whole other meanings that would be completely obtuse to people even 10 years ago.
Yeah. Do you think if you went back in time and like even to the 1800s, you'd be able to like understand what people like? You'd probably be able to understand what they were saying, but like maybe even go back further, like to old-timey England in the 200 300 AD.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you're now in a place where the written language looks more like pictures than it does like letters, I'm like, I got no idea what the fuck this is gonna be. Yeah. I don't know. Other than some scholars, I'm not sure there are many people alive today who would have any chance of understanding what someone from 300 AD was saying, even if it was technically English. I don't even. When did English start? Did English exist 300 AD?
I don't know. This is a fun little app. What's going on?
When did the English language
Tangents.
history of English? English is a West Germanic language that originated in the Anglo-Frisian dialects brought to Britain in the mid-5th to 7th centuries AD by Anglo-Saxon migrants from what is now northwestern Germany, southern Denmark, and the Netherlands. So yeah, there was no such thing as English until the 5th to 7th century.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I have a classic deep thought hypothetical here.
I'm glad, because I love getting back to these, man. This is what started this podcast, and I'm not saying we've lost our way, but we just ran out of questions.
We ran out of good
basically.
hypotheticals, yeah.
But this is my favorite, so hit me with it.
Okay. So, if you could guarantee 100% your survival at doing something which normally causes death, what would you choose to experience?
Love it. All right.
I'm also willing. It's not in the body of the text here. I'm also willing to exclude pain, right? Like if that's a valid consideration here, it's like not like I want to go see what it's like to be in the middle of a volcano, but you cannot die and you're feeling your flesh burn off your body until you know. I'm willing to exclude the even concept of pain here and suffering and allow it just a witness or experiential kind of thing.
Yeah. I've got two right off the top of my head. One is smoking. Because I love smoking.
Really?
It's really underrated.
Wow.
It's really good. You should try it. Everyone should try it.
That's so unexpected to me. That is not where I thought that was going.
That was going to be my rec for this week. Marlboro Red.
Well, on the recommendation engine. Hey, have
But
you
seriously,
you tried nicotine?
smoking and drinking, I'll pack in there as well.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's. I think I've been thinking about that lately. But that's probably a good answer. And the other one is go to space.
Yeah.
Or fly through space without a spacesuit.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
just go to another planet.
Yeah. I was gonna go one step further. I was gonna say go into a black hole. That'd be something pretty spectacular.
But when people go on about, they just won't shut up about black holes. You know how they won't shut
endless.
up about
Anytime
black
you're at the
holes.
supermarket, it is.
Oh, shut up!
Shut up! I just want my beans. Scan the fucking can.
They go on about black holes being like, oh, maybe they're a portal to like another world. Like they're not though. You just come out like in tiny pieces at the other end.
Smushed.
I don't know.
I don't know if there is another end. Do we even know that black holes have other ends?
Well, don't they? Like if you look at a black hole.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of
wormholes.
I'm thinking of like a.
You're
Well,
thinking of
wormhole would be a better choice than Nick, I think, because a wormhole you're actually getting somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, in this hypothetical, if you got the survival, I'm assuming there's some sort of fishing rod kind of thing where you go into the black hole, you have a look around for a bit, and then they just yank you back out again.
But what are you expecting to see in a black hole?
Don't know. No one's ever seen anything in there. What could be in there?
But
What
it's
if
just going to be like.
What if it was like a really big fish, and you're like, whoa, I'm the first guy to see the black hole fish. Wouldn't that be remarkable?
What if it was a really small fish?
That would also be amazing, but slightly
It's
less.
just you and this other plankton,
Yeah,
Wow.
just
both just looking at each other, going,
fuck.
Oh,
I
no,
don't
mate.
know. Did you do the hypotheticals? Yeah, I did the hypotheticals thing as well. Cool.
But he's obviously just blinking because that's how he answers. He doesn't have.
Where are you from?
words.
God, I don't speak English. Damn.
I don't speak English. What about going along that line? Like, could you take it to like even further and say another, like if there's like another civilization of
Yeah.
beings, and you could say, if I can guarantee, I mean, I would probably take that bet, even if I wasn't guaranteed survival. But this is getting
Going
I think
to,
that's
I mean,
kind of taking
that's
it a bit.
that's crossing. That's a little bit like outside the scope of something, because I don't think that's like, we don't know that causes death normally, right? It might be interesting, I think, to like, I'd do a hot air balloon ride if I was guaranteed that I wouldn't die.
Oh, come on.
Hot air balloon is the scariest fucking form of transport.
Well, Yeah, I mean, is it?
Yeah, there's no safety mechanisms at all.
What I hate, I mean, I would love to take a hot air balloon ride. What I hate about it is there's just like fucking flames right next to you while you're in the sky.
Yeah, and it's all like flammable gas, and there's
Yeah.
no like it's not like they pack parachutes, and then if you just get like defeated by wind and pushed into a cliff and everyone dies, or into a power line and everyone explodes. You know, people die in hot air balloons all the time. But I would like to see a sunset, so that's why I'm saying this might be a good use of this hypothetical.
It'd be less scary than you die in a less terrifying way than a plane, wouldn't you?
I don't know. I feel like a plane's going to be very fast, whereas I think a hot air balloon, you're going to be falling in a way that you really get time to think about the fact that this is going to end bad.
Well, you would in a plane too. I think the most terrifying thing about a hot air balloon ride would be like
Not having a bathroom.
like if you have to do it with like another couple and make small talk with them. Like,
yeah, I mean, if you have to
sharing
do
the
it with another
experience with
couple
strangers.
and it's not like people or friends you know, that's going to be a bit awkward.
Speaking of just a slight tangent here, if that's all right.
Yeah.
But I obviously was going through a lot of 9/11 porn lately, and with the anniversary.
Sure.
And I had the realization that some of the people there that were after the impact of the plane hit, and they didn't know that it was a plane, and they were just like the office was on fire, but a lot of people died not even knowing what 9/11 was.
Yeah.
They don't even know, and it's like, and they were at the 20th anniversary. Those people died. They're like,
They
they're
don't
in
even
heaven
know
going,
how or what. Yeah.
what happened? Was there a bomb? Was there, a pipe explosion?
Structural
What happened?
problems, yeah.
And it was like, no, this was terrorism.
And they were like,
"What?
what's terrorism? Because
Terrorism?"
this word hasn't meant anything yet.
Yeah. It did kind of, because I've been watching a lot of this stuff lately. Watching the footage back, the first plane hits the first tower, and people just think that it's like they thought it was like just an amateur pilot who they didn't know it was a commercial airliner. They thought it was just like a bad pilot. And then the second plane hit, and it was like immediately that the news was reporting possible terrorism.
Yeah, right. I wonder
But
because
anyway.
by that point, there's probably been like government contacts and stuff reaching out to news organizations, or vice versa, news organizations reaching out to, the Pentagon and asking, "Hey, do you know what's going on?"
They didn't know.
Yeah, but why do you think they jumped to a terrorist attack at the second one? Just because there was two, or because some people had been like, "We've lost control with this plane."
Well, there had been terrorist attacks like in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like at the World Trade Centers too.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I have one more survival thing, which I think would be very cool. Mariana Trench. Bottom of the ocean.
Oh.
Yeah. Go right down into that deep, deep, dark, horror-filled place.
Yeah, I do that most Friday nights. Why would you not be? Hasn't James Cameron done that?
Yeah, but it just seems, that tiny little ship with a very, very, very high amount of pressure all around you, and again, like if it
You're a
goes
bit of a
wrong, it
scaredy
goes
cat.
wrong very badly.
Yeah. Were you like when you went to like the Royal Show and stuff? Were you like a ride? Are you a ride goer? Are you a roller coaster guy?
When I went to the Royal Show, probably not. I was more a go look at the woodcutters and get some donuts and get some show bags kind of guy. And then
I hated the woodcutters, dude. It's so boring. Get a real job.
Then I don't know that's their job.
Get a real job like an accountant
Yeah.
or a social media.
I would do like some of the rides. I did. What's that? What was the mouse? No.
Yeah, the mouse.
Was it called just the mouse? It was something mouse,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's the mouse. The mouse rat.
Mousetrap? Mouse.
I think it's the mouse. That was the big one. And
That was the wooden
sure
one.
some people died on that as well.
That was such a harsh wooden roller coaster. And there were like 90-degree turns where you just felt like your neck had been snapped because it just came around the corner so like intensely. So I did those,
Yeah.
you know, I did like the haunted house thing and that sort of thing. But I mean, Adelaide didn't have much in the way of rides anyway. I definitely didn't do any of those like swinging, holding onto a cage, like on a chain, sitting in like a swing as it like rotates like a jellyfish.
Oh,
you know,
dude.
those like spinny ones, because that's the shit which later crashed and killed people.
I did one of those, like the slingshot it was called. I did one of those at a music festival, and I was a little inebriated, and I had a lot of Dutch courage.
Oh God!
And by that I mean like I had zero fear whatsoever. If you catch my drift.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have zero fear to do the slingshot. Let's do it. And I didn't even feel when it went, pew, and you're in this like ball cage.
Yeah.
And it slings you up. And I went with my cousin Julia, and I was like, I don't even feel
anything.
I'm fucking brave as shit. I don't feel scared at all.
Did you see the video that went viral a week or two ago of someone in one of those slingshots and it collides with a seagull, and then there's this bird on her throat, and she's freaking out more about the fact that there's a bird there, and the bird's like, "What the fuck is happening?" He grabs the bird, like tosses it away.
I love those videos. I love those videos of people like passing out in them.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh, fuck. Gosh.
I had one more question for you, and I think it's gone.
I'm trying to find the name of that roller coaster at the showground. Was it like the Mad Max? No. Oh, the Mad Mouse. The Mad Mouse.
Yeah. There it is.
It was the Mad Mouse. And they got rid of it. That seemed like it was falling over.
I'm trying to think of other really dangerous things.
Drink a vial of acid?
To do. Why?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of dangerous things.
You'd have to take a quick ease before
that. And have a Gaviscon on standby.
I think space is my big one.
Yeah.
I'd like to have a cigarette on Mars.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'd like to do. Yeah.
Mars doesn't have an atmosphere. Could you light a cigarette?
Might explode.
Yeah. Well, if you're
guaranteed.
Again, you're guaranteed survival.
Yeah, that's the thing that smoking kills.
Yeah.
Because it explodes in your face.
That's why they tell you not to do it. Do you have much in the way of seggies or anything lined up?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a what do I got here? I got a Mike's Miffed.
Oh, you got a miffed.
I got a Miffed. I got like a cool spider fact that I really wanted to share with you.
Okay, this is good. You take the reins. You've got spider facts you want to get out?
All right, I just wanted to share this one spider fact with you that it was just like absolutely mind-blowing to me. So apparently there's a species of spider that they found where the male spider will wrap up a food item for a female in silk, and they'll make it so it's wrapped up quite. There's quite a lot of effort going into this, and so that she has to like use quite a lot of effort to unpack it. And while the female spider is, trying to unwrap this food item wrapped in silk, they essentially rape her.
That's
so
very in keeping with the animal kingdom, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's not even the interesting thing.
Oh, good.
The interesting thing is now they've discovered that the male spiders have realized that they don't necessarily need to wrap up food. So they've just been wrapping up like tiny rocks.
And shit. Oh God.
and then having sex with the female spider. And then she unwraps it. She's been raped.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh fucking pebble
Rocks
again.
again. I ate rocks for breakfast. I'm sick of these rocks.
Isn't the animal kingdom just so
It's
savage?
fucked up. Hey, look, if we're in an animal world right now, I don't know if we need a little like animal zone kind of segment here, but I've got a couple other animal facts.
I can hear the jingle. Like, can I?
You
can
can
I
make a
this
jingle. Yeah.
All right, I can make an. What is it going to be called though?
Animal amazing. Animal amazing.
Animalizing.
Animals.
Deep thoughts.
Deep thoughts. Animals are
Animal
cool.
house.
Animal
house.
Animal.
So you're going to go for that.
Deep.
Animal. This is
I'll
a
leave it
great
up to you.
This is a great podcast. How?
What was this week's podcast like? Oh, they just said animal over and over and over again.
They just workshopped ideas for bits.
They didn't even
for
get
segments.
anywhere. I'll
I'll
leave it in your capable
with me.
hands.
All about animals that live in a zoo. I like all animals. How about you?
Wild creatures. Environmentally, it's elementary. Documentary.
Where we can meet you and you can meet me. All about animals. Come up and see.
I got a couple more animal things here that I've had
Please do.
burn in a hole in my my notes for a long time. So I'm gonna just rapid fire through them, right? This is kind of related to what we were just talking about, which was spiders using trap rocks, right? To get you listen to
Laid.
the thing. Sorry. I think my brain is shutting down. This one is about cockatoos. I don't know if you saw this, Michael. Wild cockatoos have been discovered to be so smart they're compared with 3-year-old humans.
Whoa.
Now they have been spotted crafting the equivalent of a crowbar, ice pick, and spoon to pry open the fruit. So they're making tools now, like a set of cutlery. This is the first time any bird species has been seen creating and using a set of tools in a specific order, a cognitively challenging behavior previously only known in humans, chimpanzees, and capuchin monkeys. So these cockatoos, they've already been known to be clever and innovative social learners. They've solved complex puzzle boxes, invented rake-like tools to retrieve objects. Several other birds like macaws and crows also use tools in the wild, often to extract food, but none have ever been seen to make a set of tools. So basically, there's this egg-shaped fruit of the sea mango tree, and they're about the size of a small avocado. They're toxic to humans. They have this reddish pulp around a hard pit that encases small nutritious seeds, and getting to the seeds isn't easy. So a male cockatoo bit away the fruit's skin, then quickly severed a small branch from a tree inside the aviary, and with a series of quick bites, whittled it into a wedge-shaped tool. Then it held the fruit with his left foot while perching on the right, using the tongue to fit the wedge into the pit's fissure, prying the pit open. Then he made a splinter into a sharp, narrow tool and used it to pierce the interior skin, protecting the seeds, and finally fabricated a third tool from another bit of wood, biting it into a flattened strip that was used to spoon out the seeds. There's a video of this, which I'll embed in this little chapter here as well. But
it's like what I've always said: cockatoos, the chimps of the skies.
That's what they've always said, and now they're justified. The interesting thing was only 2 of the males made and used tools in this flock. So if they had a genetic predisposition to use tools, all the birds would do it. But since only a few have made it and used them, it's likely they invented them independently and then learned to do it from watching each other.
Oh.
So it's not even like a built-in genetic thing. It's a social learning, which is kind of amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wouldn't it be funny if, like, historically we've always kind of like wondered if there's like an animal that will take over humans, you know, and then
Yeah.
like apes
Yeah.
or dolphins.
Yeah.
The humble cockatoo.
The humble cockatoo. It was right there in front of us the whole time. I have one more bit of bird news. This one involves some foul language.
Oh, very nice. Don't laugh like that.
This is about a duck. A duck called Ripper, an Australian duck, began the duck didn't begin investigating. A professor began investigating the evolution of vocal learning among birds and stumbled across a recording from the summer of 1987 which captured a male musk duck swearing repeatedly and mimicking the sound of a closing door. So I would just like to play you some audio of a duck swearing and calling someone, "You bloody fool." So let me just send you this in the chat.
It's on SoundCloud. Lol. Listening. What? Oh, that's spooky.
And now if you also go down to the second track there as well, there's one where he imitates a door slam.
Oh,
It's a duck.
it's a duck.
It's a duck, but it sounds like not a duck. So there's your bit of bird-related content for today.
I love it. And look, I don't want to pick a fight here where I don't need to, but once again, I mean, it started with a segment that I kind of came up with, and you've just taken it over instantly. So
Okay.
but I'm not going to say
Sorry,
anything
what
about
segment? What segment was it that I've taken over? Does it have a name?
Animal something.
Yeah, animal what?
The animal segment.
Okay. Well, I'm very sorry for taking over animal the animal segment. Sorry. I'm very sorry. And
It's
I would
fine.
like to apologize.
It's fine. I'm just saying there's a pattern of behavior here. All right. Michael's miffed. How do I introduce this? I'll just say, all right. I really suck at this. Don't leave this in. You're going to leave it in, aren't you?
No, it just depends whether or not you can get out something usable.
Okay. Well, speaking of segments that you... Oh, God.
Hey, Michael,
nothing.
I didn't want to say anything, but I feel like there's been an undercurrent throughout this podcast. I can see it in your eyes. I can see it in your posture. You just seem a little bit out of sorts. Is there a reason for that?
It's because I'm miffed, Nick.
Oh! Play the jingle!
Michael's miffed. Annoyed, displeased, riled up, offended, aggrieved, irritated, chagrined, pissed off, put out, resentful, and big, discontented. Michael's miffed.
Thanks for really helping me out there, mate. Appreciate it. I'm not used to taking any lead on this show, in any way, and I sometimes panic when it's kind of thrown to me. So
Yeah, no,
All right.
I'm here for you.
So pretty new segment. I think we've only done one before, but it's called Michael's Miffed. It's where I've just jot down a couple of things that miff me, that peeve me, that annoy me. So I've got a couple here this week, and Nick, feel free to chime in if you're also miffed, or if you think that's a stupid miff.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Yeah.
muff miff.
And if, of course, it's not quite brought to the level of being a full miff, there are mini-miffs as well. So just remember that
And forgot about
we
mini-miffs.
do have mini-miffs
Yeah.
available.
Yeah. So, okay, the first one, it might be a bit hack, this one.
Okay.
But I really hate it when, when someone's opening a door, they're in front of you and they're opening at a cafe and they leave the door open for you and you're actually so far away that the time, like that the distance is like too long to be holding the door open for someone, and then you have to run to it. Like then the pressure gets on you to actually run so that they're not stuck holding the door open for an awkward amount of time.
I'm gonna redirect this. I understand that one. It doesn't come up too much to me. But the one that does miff on my end is a similar situation where there's a hold and then there's a look and a thought, oh, he's too far away, I'm not going to hold it, but I'm actually closing in quite quickly. And then you have that awkward, they've walked away and let go of the door and the door's closing just as you're there to hit the door open again. And you're like, mate, you should have held it. I was right there. If I'm hitting an ajar door with my hand, that was holding territory.
What I don't get is why this is even a thing. Like, I don't need someone to hold the door open for me ever. It's like just bleh. It's like one action.
But there are obviously benefits for that. Like, no, if you're in a queue of people like sort of close behind each other,
sure,
and you're opening the door, you're not going to expect the person in front of you to close it before you go and grab the handle, right? Like,
no. But it's become this like thing that people kind of feel that they're expected to do. Like I always like, when I'm at the cinema and the usher hasn't done his job and the door isn't open, and many times I've been stuck. I've opened the door, it doesn't click to stay open, and I'm just there. Now I just work there.
Yeah. And
I'm just letting the whole cinema out.
Yeah.
There, I respect that, and if I saw someone else doing that, I'd be like, "Thank you, sir." But like, if it's just this like thing that people feel like they should do, like, don't do it. Like, I can open the door. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right. Another thing that's really miffed me this week is this is maybe a mini miff.
Okay. I'll make a size judgment after the myth has been sort of put on the table.
Okay. But when people say thanking you instead of thank you, okay. I cringe.
That's
dude.
a mini. That's a full-on mini. That's a mini.
How do you feel about people saying thanking you? And do you?
I'm a
perpetrator.
I think that they should be run over by a tractor, but I think that's still at the scale of mini-miff.
Okay, you're hung up on the size.
Yeah.
But why do people thanking you? It's so gross, isn't it?
It's like going up to meet someone and extending a hand, and as they put their hand in yours, you go shaking you. It's like it's a weird.
Why are you switching it to present tense?
Greeting you. It's like, no, don't narrate what's happening. Do the gesture.
Yeah, it's not present tense. It's like
it's narration. Thanking you, walking away.
Stop it. Anyone that says that, stop it. By the way, how do you sign off your emails? Are you a regards?
I'm a much love XOXO.
No, come on, in your work emails.
Cheers. I'm often a cheers. If it's
I like a cheers.
If it's with people that I know, but I'm working with, like a cheers is good. A many thanks is good. If it's a little bit more, a little bit less well known or a little bit more professional, I'll go for a warm regards.
Yeah, I like a regards
or a kind regards.
I'm gonna add this. This wasn't previously a myth, but I'm adding it in there because it's popped up a bit lately. People sign off best.
Okay. Yeah. Disgusting.
Do you hate that?
Yeah. Best what?
Disgusting.
My best, your best, the best, best of. Yeah, it's so ambiguous. I mean, I think that's still a mini myth, and I'm a little bit. I don't want to play the rules card here. I don't want to get out the Bible, but I think we got to wait a little bit more to major myths here. There's a risk here. We're getting too many mini myths, And I just
Okay, well,
want
that
to
was
I
just
just
a-
want to caution you, like this is a yellow light. Just beware ahead. If
Okay.
there's not more major myths, I think we might need to call an end to this segment.
And
Just for
once
false
again,
advertising.
You torpedo. Find a way to torpedo
I'm just
creativity.
I'm just enforcing your own rules. I'm sorry that I have to play this role, but if you're not willing to live up to the high standards that you set for yourself in this segment, then I'm afraid that I'm going to have to step in.
Well, luckily, I've got a monster myth. An absolute mega myth.
A massive myth.
Monumental myth.
All right, good. I'm
And
glad.
it's this.
Okay.
Holding hands in public. I don't get it. I think it's stupid. I keep seeing couples holding hands on their walks. I want it to stop. It's pointless. I don't get it. Your hands get sweaty. It's stupid. It's dumb. Like, do you need to just be touching each other all the time? Is it a possessive thing? I had a couple the other day. I was going for a run. Get this. I was going for a run. I had a couple the other day. I'm running down like a creek path. It's a narrow creek path. A couple I see about 50 meters ahead. They're holding hands, taking up the whole path. I think, whatever. I hate holding hands, but I'll allow it. As I get closer, they don't move into a single lane. They maintain the hand hold. And I almost fell into running rapid water because of this hand holding. Because they just refuse to give it up. Holding hands, sometimes I saw a couple the other day, were walking like for exercise, like at a swift pace, holding hands. What are you doing? You never need to hold hands. No one ever needs to hold hands. It's dumb. It's stupid. And it's dangerous, quite frankly.
This is a spicy take.
Thank you.
You took this one straight out of the oven and perhaps should have left it to cool on the windowsill a little bit because it is.
I couldn't.
It is burning.
Couldn't.
I don't have this problem. I don't mind a handhold as long as it's not blocking fucking pathways and other people's transit. But why does it matter if other people hold hands? That's what I retort to you. Why does it matter if they're not blocking you? So what?
What I think I don't like about it is that, like, I don't understand this need to affirm your affection for someone in public.
But you're acting like the choice is that this is being done for this to make a point to the people around them, right?
No, I'm just saying it's pointless. Like, are you two getting like so much from it? Like this constant touching? Like, it's uncomfortable. It's inconvenient. It's clammy. I hate clammy. I hate clammy.
We've known this about you for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed to admit I'll hold a hand.
You're a hand holder.
I'll hold a hand. I'll it's not something that I need to do for an entire 45-minute walk or anything. But sometimes when you're out and about, it's nice to hold a hand for a minute.
Well, maybe I'm just a senile old prick. But I see a handhold and
Do you think it's got some kind of
spit on the ground
insecurity side of it, where you're projecting some sort of thing where it's like about you're reading into it that people are doing it because they're trying to affirm this, strength of their relationship and the confidence to declare it to the rest of the world. Like, are you reading into it some kind of insecurity in that?
Look, you might be onto something here, but I reckon it's more it could be like, I think it's because when I've been in relationships, I just hate it myself, and it's been a point of contention in basically every relationship that I've ever been in when I refuse to do it.
Oh.
And then it's like, oh, look at them, they're holding hands. I'm like, they suck. That's fine.
This does sound like I can't fault it because this is Michael's miffed. This is
No one
Michael's
knows.
miffed.
Check
No
the
one knows. Check the tapes.
Check the lyrics. Yeah.
This is Michael's miffed. So it can only be subjective to you, Michael. But it does also sound very much like a you problem.
I'm sure there are other anti-hand holders out there.
Yeah, the anti-hand protests in the middle of Melbourne have been really disrupting this community at the
We
moment.
didn't mention COVID once this
Oh, fuck it! Oh, you fucked it. You fucked it. Shit. Well, Christ. Okay, was that the last one?
Yeah. I also had one other mini-miff.
Okay, not allowed. If you've enjoyed this kind of thing, then I'm very glad to hear it. We put a lot of effort into it, as you can tell from the notes prepared and the time invested in this podcast. We've got plenty more episodes similarly handcrafted for you. They're all in the back of the feed. They're all on deepfort.podbean.com, and you can go listen to them at your leisure. There's also facebook.com/deepfort, Twitter @deepfort, Instagram for photos and clips. We've got SoundCloud where you can hear our Christmas jingles. We got new ones coming up. And
I will, and also going to endeavor to put our Christmas songs on Spotify.
yes. You can also send a question or a comment to deepfort@gmail.com, which is where we will... Yeah, you can also send your questions and comments to deepfort@gmail.com. And I said that with sort of a downward inflection now so that I don't have to add anything at the end and ramble on. I would also like to throw one little thing in here at the end, which is that my show Good Grief is now airing in the US, UK, and Canada on Sundance Now, on AMC Plus, on IFC. In the UK, you find that via Amazon Prime. But our show is now international. It's been getting some kind of amazing reviews and coverage around the world.
New York Times.
New York Times. Fucking surrealist
Deadline.
shit. Deadline. Yeah, The Sun. A whole bunch of places have been wrecking it. So if you enjoyed the show and you're based in Australia but you know people overseas, or if you're listening from overseas and you want to check it out, please check out Good Grief. It's around in some big markets now, so go have a look.
Still getting peeps coming up to me saying, I've stopped listening to your podcast, but I have been watching Good Grief and loving it.
That's a real silver lining there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, the thing that I'm not involved in. All right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you sort of moral support. You can take a little bit of the Good Grief buzz for that.
Wouldn't mind a songwriter's credit on the next one.
Yeah, I'll try my hardest.
Can't have any of the songs though.
No. Shall we do a rec engine to wrap things up?
Yes, please.
Welcome to Deep Fort's recommendation engine.
Do you listen to Jason Bateman's podcast, Smartless?
Absolutely not.
He does it with
I don't know why.
with
I didn't mean that
Will
to sound so like I would never listen to
aggressive.
it.
But I brought that up because they sign off their podcast with "Bye," and it's really annoying.
I feel like I need to raise a red flag here. That was clearly a mini-miff, and you've snuck it into a different segment.
I drop myths
sorry,
all over the place, dude.
That's a 5-minute in the penalty box.
You ever go out walking with me? You'll see a trail of mini-miffs leading back to my
I
house.
thought you were going to say, I will not let you hold my hand.
I'll hold your hand.
Okay, that's very sweet of you. Give me some recs.
All right. I'm going to rattle through just some because, as I said, I think they do have a short shelf life.
Yep.
And so I'm not going to go into heaps of detail about them. The first one is one from I actually listened to a couple of months ago, but it's Seth Rogen's audiobook, yearbook. It's like a autobiography. I listened to the audiobook. It was so funny. So many, if you like celebrity stories, he's got so many, and they're all interesting, going through the time when he was writing the interview with James Franco and the whole Sony saga to dinners with Nicolas Cage. It's unbelievably good.
He was telling a lot of
highly-
those stories around the podcast circuit as well. He told a couple on Conan and somewhere else as well. I think on Jimmy Kimmel he was telling one.
Yeah,
So
he did it
yeah, he
on
does
Late
have
Night as
some
well.
some good stories.
Really good stories. So I highly recommend that, especially if you've got some Audible credits.
Yeah. I'll throw one in here in the audio field as well. It's going to shock no one, but the new Sufjan Stevens, Angelo de Augustine album, A Beginner's Mind, is
Loving it, dude.
chef's kiss. It is real fun. It's light. It's all about movies. Every song is a summary or thematic inspiration to some kind of film. So every single one of them has like a connection to a famous movie. And it was just like a fun, I think, lockdown project they started doing where they were just writing songs about movies. I just really like it. I think the music's really good. I like the vibes. It's a bit closer to the Carrie and Lowell sort of folksy side than it is the electronica side of things. So yeah, I you know, I'm a diehard, but I think it's good.
I second that. I listened to it on your rec and absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
Didn't know it was about
and
movies.
those voices as well, like Angelo de Augustine. I don't know if you've listened to much of his, but
No.
you could easily sort of mistake one for the other. So they have a very nice sort of harmony and compatibility.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. The other one I suppose I should just mention on that. Well, the other thing I should mention is just some of the movies and things. So there's like stuff from as random as like Hellraiser 3 and Silence of the Lambs,
really?
Point Break.
Just
She's
movies
Gotta
I've been
Have
watching in
It.
lockdown.
You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So if you go and listen to it through that lens as well, I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah, so it's not like just Schindler's List.
No, it's not. It's not a list of like the best films ever made. They're very random.
Yeah, cool. No, great album.
Mm.
I got a couple of docs about people that I have absolutely loved. The first one is Val, which is about actor Val
VAL.
Kilmer.
Val. Right. Yeah.
Val, actor Val Kilmer, going through his career. You probably haven't seen him in a lot of things lately. He was Batman, famously. He was also in Top Gun, a bunch of other things. But he's a real thespian, and he also can't talk anymore without a breathing tube.
Oh.
And he talks like this. He has to press his throat like that, and which is why you haven't heard about him. But he's just really he's still as like he's like incredibly eccentric guy, and he's had a fascinating career. There's some.
Is it
he's got so
because
many
of what, like
stories.
throat cancer or something?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right.
think throat cancer. But yeah, no, just incredibly beautiful doc. It's on Amazon Prime, I think, at least in Australia. And the other doc is Roadrunner about Anthony Bourdain.
Oh.
A personal hero of mine, but yeah. Incredible doc on his life.
Yeah. Nice. I know a lot of people. A couple of other podcast people I've listened to have been holding off on that doc because they're not sort of emotionally ready, I think, to go and revisit it. That seemed like that loss really cut deep for a lot of people.
It definitely did for me, like in a weird way, and it's interesting trying to like dig in and understand what that feeling of grief is especially when it's someone that you don't know and have never met.
Yeah,
and I think it's something along the lines of he seemed to have everything that you want in your life, like the best version of your life seems that it would be his life, traveling the world, writing,
eating,
experiencing lots of different cultures.
Yeah.
That seems like the best thing. And if someone like that is going to take their lives, then I think the feeling is what are we doing then?
Yeah.
Like if that's not good enough for someone, even though it's
That's
irrational to a degree because there's
No.
mental illness.
Yeah, for sure.
There. But I think that's
what
the
it chips away at, that certainty
Yeah.
or that confidence. Yeah. Oh, that's
what's
very
the
well
point?
put. Yeah, I hadn't considered it through that lens.
Yeah. But yeah, great doc.
I have a comedy series to throw out there. The Other Two is a really fun, light, fast-paced comedy from a couple of the previous generation of SNL head writers, Sarah Schneider and Chris Kelly. They made the first season of this, I think, in 2019, and it was picked up, or maybe even 2018, and it was picked up, but then held because it was changing networks, and then COVID happened, and then it became a different thing, and finally the second season has aired. But it's just as funny and very well written, and it's about a young singer, like a teenage singer, who becomes a massive overnight success, and his mum sort of ushers him into this world of sudden Hollywood stardom, and this series focuses on the family and the other two kids, the older brother and the older sister, both of whom are a little bit aimless and trying to get into the entertainment industry themselves, and as their younger brother just sort of skyrockets, they kind of ride the coattails as best they can. That's where it starts. It's very funny, and always reliable, and quite gay, which I always like.
I watched season 1. I didn't find it gay.
Yeah, the main character.
I'm gay?
Well, probably. Yeah, that's how that works.
This seems normal to me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to use the word normal.
This seems like a not broken, horrible sort of egregious thing. Yeah.
Sexually typical. No, I watched season 1 and I really enjoyed it. And I'm not like usually into those cutesy kind of shows, but it was genuinely funny.
Yeah.
Have you watched? This is not I'm not willing to put a rec label on this, but have you been watching the morning show?
No.
I guess to a TV purist, it's not really.
No, that's not it. I heard mixed things when it first came out. I know that it changed showrunners a couple of times, and that the first season, in some of the review coverage and discussion about it when it debuted, people felt like there was a lot of different hands in the mix, a lot of different conflicting kind of things. I know they've reshot a whole bunch of stuff and left some stuff and scrapped one pilot and all this kind of thing. And so I kind of just, I don't know. I never quite felt compelled to try it out.
Okay. Been enjoying it. I think I'm as I said earlier, like less easy to please when it comes to as long as the premise is something I'm on board with, or the vibe, then the quality I'm fine with like a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes kind of show. If I like the premise, which is like news and cancel culture
setting
and all that. I mean, and the actors are there, I'm there.
Yeah.
But also, this is dragging on a bit, but scenes from a marriage with Jessica Chastain and Oscar Isaac, I've been absolutely loving as well.
Yeah, nice. I might throw one last one out. It's I could have done it really with the previous one, but the new Big Red Machine album, which is Bon Iver and Aaron Dessner from The National.
I've been enjoying. I really like the Fleet Foxes one.
Fleet Foxes.
Robin Pecknold.
I haven't seen that one. Yeah,
is it the same thing that?
Are you talking about this as in the one with the song that Robin Pecknold was on? Yeah. You're right. Sorry, I'm with you. So the Big Red Machine was kind of this Bon Iver, Aaron Dessner collab, and this second album is called.
How long do you think it's going to last?
Correct. How long do you think it's going to last?
Sorry. Sandwiches. You go.
Sometimes it feels like we finish each other's. Fuck, I don't know. The album's good. I was gonna go into this thing about how it feels like they're going a bit gorillas with it, in the sense that they've expanded the scope now to invite all of these guest performers in, and it's like, okay, there's going to be 2 songs with Taylor Swift, and there's going to be one with Fleet Foxes, and there's going to be one with someone else, and they just like throw open this name and album to like a collage of different voices and see what they can make with a bunch of interesting people. And I like that that sort of model. I like it when you see that kind of experimentation from people.
Yeah, I think Taylor, like having Taylor Swift on a song title is off-putting.
I don't know. I think it's a good song. I like it.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've only listened to that one song.
No, it's good.
All right. That was recommendations. Recommendations? Recommendation engine.
Sorry, are you wrapping up?
I was wrapping you up. I'm about to literally throw some shrimps on the Barbie, mate.
Wow, that's very cliche of you, and I disapprove.
No one calls it shrimps here.
No.
It's just American.
Yeah.
I love it when you just say, yeah. And give me nothing
Sandwiches. Fuck! Sorry, I thought you were going there.